Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of What's Brewing with Mobile Cup of Joe. Hey, I am your bearded barista, the host for tonight, and we have a really good show tonight. I'm super excited about it. A lot of stuff going on, so we're going to try to move pretty quick for you here. But we're looking at Samsung events. We had new phones announced, some HTC bad news, Google doing some things. We've got a bunch of stuff going on, and we're going to try to hit it all for you as quick as possible. So let's just go ahead and get right to it. Let's go ahead and introduce you to the Brew Crew. We even have a special guest. I'm going to hit him last. So usually I start left to right for me, but I'm going right to left just because it's easier that way. So I'm going to start with Spec Sheet Tony because he's on the far right side for me. So Spec Sheet Tony, catch us up a little bit on your past week and what's brewing over there for you, bud.
Oh, not a lot. Just been working hard. I got my Fi welcome kit today. I won't actually be using Fi, at least not until T-Mobile comes with a cheaper family plan that I can keep my current T-Mobile plan. But I did get the welcome kit because, hey, why not? It's absolutely free, no tax, no shipping. You get a free case, free 6,000 milliamp hour battery, and free pair of headphones that I'm actually enjoying right now. But 100% free until you decide to activate your service, and then it's just the charge for service. So, and then I got my Remix Ultra tablet last week, so we'll be doing a show on that since all the main Brew Crew guys have Remix tablets now. Other than that, just trying to find a little bit of time here and there to get the drone out and try to fix the little bit of a stability issue I've been having with my video.
Oh, yeah, you just said not a lot, and then you go through like 30 things that's going on.
Oh, yeah, not a lot.
Not a lot, yeah.
A ton. Yeah.
You know, that plus, the whole baby thing, family stuff, and all that. So anyway, good to see you, bud. Let's go ahead and talk to the main man himself, Mobile Cup of Joe. How are you, my friend? What's brewing there? And catch us a little on this giveaway that we've got going on.
Yeah, so if you caught the video, the one on the channel, I believe it was Monday earlier this week, we are giving away, and I've got the cards actually right here under a pile of crap. We've got two iTunes gift cards. One of them is a $10 one of them is a $15 card, and I put up a giveaway video. All you had to do was subscribe to the Mobile Cup of Joe YouTube channel, leave one comment below that video, and then we're going to pick a winner at some point randomly tonight during the show using random.org. And at the end of the show, whoever we pick will win both of these cards, so you'll get 25 bucks to spend in the Apple App Store or the iTunes Store on any games or music, whatever you want for your iPhone, iPad, or iPod. So we will be doing that at some point throughout the show. I'll go on my computer and pick a winner, and then towards the end, after we get through all of our topics, we will announce the winner. And once we do that, you will have 24 hours to claim your prize. So good luck to whoever wins. The submissions closed at 9 o'clock Eastern tonight, so about 17 minutes ago. So we do have that going on later tonight. Then as for me personally, I also got my Project Fi welcome kit, which you can probably see back there with the case, the power pack, and I pointed to the headphones and said the case, the earbuds, the power bank, and the case. I've actually been using Project Fi and been ridiculously impressed with how good Sprint's coverage is, because I did a speed test in Paw Paw, Michigan, which is kind of populated but is still a very, very, very rural town, and my speedtest.net showed I was getting 42.60 megabits down and 12.77 up. So I don't know what the hell you're doing, Sprint. I don't know what kind of magical unicorn dust you're putting into your towers, but you have freaking amazing service somehow when it was complete crap like 3 years ago. So keep doing what you're doing because Project Fi has been a dream so far. But aside from that and enjoying legit LTE after getting like not real LTE on Cricket, I've been a very, very happy camper with Project Fi. So if you couldn't tell, I'm enjoying Project Fi so far.
Man, that's almost like an espresso shot review, a little mini review there. So pretty much most of the guys on the show here have either attempted to or gone ahead and bit the bullet and got the Fi stuff going on. So I might as well too eventually. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and talk to Back from the Dead Fred. Back from the Dead Fred is finally right side up. He was upside down Fred.
Finally.
So it's good to see you the correct way, my friend. How are you? What's brewing over there for you?
Hey, I was all prepared to kick this off telling you guys how absolutely swimmingly my Windows 10 upgrade went. Although there was a lot of prep for it. There were a lot of updates I had to run through, and I had to kind of squeeze some of them in before I could get Windows 10. So it wouldn't have worked to do it live on the show. It was more than an hour's affair. But I was all set to say how beautifully everything was running and how much I loved the interface and how smoothly the upgrade went until I turned on the webcam for the first time and discovered that I was apparently hanging upside down from the ceiling. But we've got a workaround, which is a standalone cam here, and we'll try to get to the bottom of that as things move on. Other than that, pretty quiet. It's kind of the dead of summer, so work is a little slow. Life has been a little slow, and just catching up on some stuff. Should have some reviews coming this weekend.
Excellent, excellent. So yeah, you may want to check your location settings. Maybe they're just set to Australia or something. So maybe it's something easy to fix like that.
I'm thinking Southern Hemisphere, and it was compensating for the south of the equator.
Exactly. Had the what's the Coriolis effect or whatever spinning you upside down.
Exactly.
But anyway, let's go ahead and talk to David, our guest. You're really you're part of the family at this point. Once you've been on the show once, that you're not a guest anymore. You're part of the family here. I don't expect you to behave at all, and that's great. That's always fun. But anyway, David, catch us up a little bit since the last time you've been here, and what's going on with you? What's brewing?
Oh man, since the last time I've been here, that was a couple months ago. No, it's been really good. I got a lot of work done. I'm normally in the Bane Tech Live podcast when I can. I moved in July, so I had a lot of stuff happen in July. I moved to a new place. I got rid of 4 of my birds that I had. They went to a new homes, better homes, because I had so many at the time. What else? I had the same phone, which for me is huge, because I normally get a new phone every 3 weeks. So that's been really nice to keep the iPhone 6 for a while. No, it's been really good. I drove a lot for this company that I work for in Chicago. So it's basically like an independent contractor type gig. And I drove enough, so I bought myself a little Apple Watch. I bought one a month ago, then I returned it because I needed to have some extra funds available, and so I bought it again because I really wanted it and I liked it, and I had the extra cash lying around. But now I'm really excited because September the 6th, it's the best day ever! The new iPhone announcement is going to be then, or there's a Apple discussion on the 6th, so whatever that means. But no, it's been really, really good. So just a little plug for my show that I'm normally on. Well, it's not mine, but the show that I contribute to, I guess. Our podcast feed, I was 10 episodes behind because I was really busy with just living. So I actually updated our entire feed. So if you're bored and have like 4 or 5 hours, go on the podcast feed. You'll hear all of the new episodes, and it's caught up until the content on Sunday at 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. No, I did that wrong. 2 Central, 3 Eastern. But now I live in a much nicer condo. You saw my little ghetto apartment last time I was on the show. That thing was a nightmare. So I live in a much nicer place now with central air and a laundry machine. No, things have been great. Things have been really good. I just had had nothing going on tonight, and Joe and I talk in Hangouts from time to time, and I'm like, hey, you need a resident crazy person to jump on your show? So I'll be happy to come on board. So I'm excited to be here, and it's a great week to be here too. The Samsung announcement. The new Moto stuff is still in the works, all the fun things we're going to discuss, and if you follow any of my stuff on YouTube, Bane Tech, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, I'm an Apple guy at heart. But I can still come on and I can still, talk about Android stuff because I've used it all. So, yeah, thanks for having me on board, guys. Excited to be here.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. We're glad that you're back. And no, bring your fanboydom. I know September 6th is your Christmas, so no, let's just go ahead.
No, oh my God, though. But the new iPhone normally comes out on my birthday. My birthday is the 18th of September. So last year I was gonna go stand in line at the Apple Store, but the line was way too big, so I just went and got wasted instead. But this year I'm gonna be in line for the new iPhone, whatever it is.
See, that's what I love about a good fanboy. I don't care who it is, if it's Marvel or if it's iPhone or anything. I don't care what it is. I'll stand in line and wait for it forever. So no, should be fun. I'm looking forward. I'm glad that you're here on the show. Should be a fun night. But yes, we've got a ton of stuff to go over. So let me tell everybody that's listening or watching, either live or later, how to get in touch with us. Hashtag MCOJ Brews, the easiest way to find us, and that's on all the socials. We keep an eye on that during the show and after in the week following. So if you have a question, comment, concern, or rebuttal about anything that we're talking about, or if you want to jump on David's fanboydom or attack him, just be sweet. Just go ahead and hit us on hashtag MCOJ Brew. Of course, you can find us on all the socials and all that. So let's go ahead and get started. We've got a bunch of freshly brewed news. Samsung, the Unpacked event. Tony, I think you're starting us off, correct?
Yeah, I actually was able to, incidentally, actually catch the Samsung event live because I just happened to be sitting in front of my TV and browsing my subscriptions, and I'm subscribed to Samsung on YouTube. So I saw it, and I'm like, hey, I'll put that on, and I put it on, and sure enough, 20 minutes of waiting. So I listened to their cutesy little music for about 20 minutes while I made my coffee and my breakfast, and I sat down and watched the event. Basically, all right, just it. The quickest overview I can possibly give you, with taking for granted that everybody knows what a Galaxy S6 is and what's in a Galaxy S6, what you have here is the Galaxy S6 Edge and the Galaxy S6 plus an S Pen on the regular S6, blown up to the size of a Note, 5.7-inch screen, same exact displays, Quad HD displays. So during the event, I believe the CEO of Samsung said that it's bigger, better screens in a smaller package, and it's not true. It's the exact same screen in a smaller package, a slightly smaller package from what I've heard. It looks the same, but supposedly it is a smaller package. But basically, it's a blown-up S6 and S6 Edge with an extra gig of RAM. So it does have 4 gigs of RAM. That is going to be very interesting. Very few phones out in the market with 4 gigs yet. I think the OnePlus 2, the 64 gig version of the OnePlus 2, the Asus Zen phone, and this I think are the only ones that jump to mind. There may be the Sony tablet I think may have the bigger, like Pro Sony tablet may have 4 gigs of RAM. But as for phones, I think that's about it. So we still have the Quad HD displays. We've got the same Exynos processor that's in the S6 line, the 4 gigs of RAM. These two are only going to come in 32 and 64 gigabyte variants, which I thought was a very odd choice. Maybe the 128 didn't sell well for the S6, and that's possibly because people are still not willing to spend that much money if they don't know they're getting like iPhone quality, because iPhones are the only people who've been out in the marketplace long enough and proved themselves. People are still a little bit wary about Android unless they're in the tech community. But still, so we've got and let's see, no more micro SD slot, which I think we all expected, just having the S6 come out with no micro SD capabilities, and smaller 3,000 milliamp hour battery. So hopefully they've done something to tweak. I got decent battery life on my Note 4 when I had it for review. I think I'm thinking like 5-6 hours screen on time and a full day of usage. But that was a 3200, I think, or 3220, something like that, size battery. This is a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. I don't know what they could have done, but I think the Note 4 had an 805, Snapdragon 805 in it, so maybe they're trusting their ground up building the architecture themselves to be a little bit more power efficient. But same cameras that are on the S6. Basically, these are, as I said, they're giant S6s with additional gig of RAM. So I like the idea of the Note 5. And the one real new announcement, other than I think Samsung Pay, was that you can now write on the screen and jot a note down while the screen is off on the Note 5, which is a really neat idea. But that's it. That is literally it for the Samsung event. So summed up.
David is listening for us.
Yeah. I mean, that's a cool feature, but honestly, I was expecting a little bit more, especially with the announcement of Samsung Pay. I thought there was going to be something cool with that. But
well, David's slow clap actually kind of resonates exactly how I feel about this thing, because like the Note line was always kind of a maybe not a utilitarian, but kind of a departure from the standard S6 flagships. The design was always different. You always knew you were going to have expandable storage, removable. I think, did the Note 4 have a removable battery in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was always
It
like,
would have been a witch hunt if there wasn't.
I know, but it was always that kind of departure from the standard Galaxy S flagship line that if you wanted a phone that was just like insanely powerful, you could still remove the battery, you could still like expand the storage just because you're spending more for it. And it just always had that sense of this is a phone you're going to get a lot of work done on it. You've got a lot of software features. You're going to be able to, Jesus, my notifications on Windows 10 are blowing up right now. You've got like those extra features there because you can like could always rely on like an SD card and more software features and having the battery to remove, and it just feels like it just feels like a blown up S6. It doesn't feel like it still carries that Note soul with it. Yes, it has the S Pen, but just doesn't feel like it has that same feeling to it. I don't know if I'm getting like too sentimental here because it's a phone, but it just feels like a blown up
You're
S6.
100% right.
It doesn't feel like a Note device anymore.
To me, because I never cared much for the Note at all, I like the idea of just blowing everything up and then giving everybody an option for a bigger phone. But you guys know I like the bigger phones. I like my 8-inch. I like having that. So I'm always going to opt for a decent phone, which I love. Okay, whatever. I like the Edge, the S6 Edge. I do. It's a cool looking phone. I saw it in the store today, and I was like, man, that's just cool looking. So have a big one, sure, why not? Is it pointless? Absolutely, but it's cool looking. You know, I'm down for something like that. So, I don't know, Fred. It looks like you're dancing around on us over there. What are your thoughts on this, bud?
Well, I haven't seen them yet, and I did not have an S6 at all. I did have a Note Edge. I was not too impressed with the Edge. It seemed more of a proof of concept kind of thing. I didn't really get the idea that it was going to be that functional. As for Samsung, I'm not a TouchWiz fan, although I hear good things about the current generation of TouchWiz, although I haven't experienced it yet. So I'm reserving judgment on
From non-Nexus users.
Pardon?
You hear good things from non-Nexus users.
Right.
From non-Nexus users. Actually, young man just came to work at my office who is an Android guy, but in particular he's a Samsung guy, and he loves TouchWiz. I figured there had to be somebody out there that liked it, and he's the guy. Loves it.
He's one of two, yes.
Wow.
The other, we don't know who the other one is, but he's there and loves it. The whatever, you know, the animations, the cartoony features, he likes it all. So, you know, no accounting for taste, I guess.
All right, I have a question for you, David, because, all right, so here's where I am with you. Tony's explaining this, the Galaxy S6 bit bigger, and you slow clap because you're unimpressed. However, moments ago you said, I don't care what the next iPhone is, I'm going to wait in line overnight for it, which is probably going to be an iPhone 6 but bigger, or with one extra feature or something like that. Compare, contrast.
Yeah, for sure. So the reason why I kind of, you know, of course it's the internet, so you gotta feed the beast, I guess. But in all seriousness, the reason why I'm not as impressed with the S6 Plus Edge, whatever it is, it's because I don't see it adding any extra dimension or any extra value to what the S6 Edge already does. Samsung, when the S6 Edge first was released, their biggest problem was software to hardware optimization. It didn't happen. My sister got one when the day it came out because she really wanted to get the S6 and she thought the Edge was really pretty and she bought it. That thing bugged on her so many times. She went through 2 different units in 3 different days, and she finally got one that it semi-works now. But the thing is that if they were to really make sure the software and the hardware went together really, really well, that would be perfect. But I just don't see that happening. Now, compare and contrast that to the iPhone. The iPhone 6 Plus, all it is a big iPhone. But you get the value add of a 5.5-inch iOS screen. You don't need that. We already have an LG G4. We already have the S6 Edge, and the Edge does nothing. The Edge literally does your contacts and looks pretty when it's on silent. The end. And when I had the S6,
phone down, face down.
Right. Who does that? Not me. Right. But my whole thing is that with the whole Samsung line, when I read that the battery was going to be smaller in the Note 5 than it is in the Note 4, I literally, I went like this. Like, I put my hand, I face-palmed, because the S6, my big beef with the S6 is the battery could not support the hardware. You know, I love Actually, Joe, I don't know if you remember this, but I got the phone the week that you published your review of the S6, and I had just been on the show like a couple of weeks prior to it, and I had tweeted to you, and I had said, I think your analysis on the battery life here is wrong. Well, then I went to Florida for work, and I had the S6 sitting in my bag while I was teaching for the entire day. It went from 100 to 72% without me even looking at it. I went to a Verizon store in Florida, and I bought an iPhone. Not kidding, that happened.
If that phone had, a battery that could actually support the hardware in it, I would be owning that right now. The phone camera's fantastic. The hardware is like insanely nice to hold. The processor is fantastic, but the battery dies after you use the phone for like 2 hours, basically.
Exactly. And let's bring that into the Note conversation now. So now we have a Note that ostensibly is a really big S6 with a small battery for a screen that is 0.7 inches bigger. So 0.7 inches, it's a QHD display. Let's give it another 500,000 pixels to push around. Y'all better be buying you a Mophie or getting next to an outlet all the time. You're going to hate your life for the next 2 years. I just don't get it. Software and hardware did not come together well enough. Samsung... And I'm a big Apple supporter because I feel something very emotional about Apple. It was my first smartphone. I remember going to the store and buying it. I remember going to the Apple store when Steve Jobs died and seeing all the flowers. Like it's tied into like into me as a human being, which I love, and I think that's really fun and I embrace it. But I think Samsung still makes a quality product when they make a quality product. And the S4, I loved that phone. But the 5, 6, and now all these current devices, stop trying to compete with Apple and be the best version of yourself.
Exactly. Well, you talked about flagships with weak batteries. Alvie, didn't you have the exact same issue on the HTC One M9?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, and it was, I think, worse than yours. Yeah, I mean, fantastic phone. I would rock that right now, but man, you could not even like use it. It was done before like lunch if you really pushed it. I think we ended up titling Dead Before Dark. I mean, there's no way possible to use it in a full day. And I don't know what the deal is. Can anybody, if they have the resources real quick, compare the S6 Edge battery to the S6 Plus Edge battery? I know we're comparing Notes to S6s, but that's probably a better comparison if anybody can do that.
I can do that right now.
It's 3,500 in the... Oh, it's the active.
I think the S6 Edge is 27 something, isn't it? Or 27.
Fun fact though, I just Googled it, and the first article that came up that was one from Fandroid that said, "Are you pissed the Note 5 doesn't have a micro SD/removable battery?"
S6 Edge has a 2,600 milliamp hour battery, and then the S6 Edge Plus has a 3,000.
Okay, so you're going to look at the similar battery life then.
Yeah. Which is still not good.
Slightly smaller or slightly larger battery, and then a slightly larger screen. So you're going to have the same issues with it. Okay, let's move it right along because I don't want to spend too much time on Samsung. We have some HTC news, and Joe's going to lead this off. Catch us up a little bit on what's brewing with HTC, Joe.
Well, like Alvie said, our title for the HTC One M9 review was Dead Before Dark. HTC is basically dead because they dropped 60%. They had a 60% plunge in their stocks, and as of about 4 or 5 days ago, they're trading below cash. So essentially, if you're trading below cash, that means you're worthless on Wall Street. Their stocks are essentially have no value whatsoever right now. And HTC, they've been having a pretty rough couple of years, or at least a pretty rough year and a half. Their stocks have been continuously going down, and now they just plummeted to the point where basically if you have HTC stock, it's completely pointless and completely worthless, and you've just lost a bunch of money if you were really invested in that company. But on top of that, though, as if that wasn't bad enough, HTC announced that they're cutting 15% of their workforce as part of what they're calling a quote-unquote business realignment. And HTC's CEO, Chair Wayne, released a statement. I'll just read it real quick, just so we can get a word from their CEO, saying that, quote, HTC is an inspirational company driven by innovative people with a unique blend of expertise in hardware, software integration, advanced technology, and world-class design. Now, as we diversify beyond smartphones, we need a flexible, dynamic organization to ensure we can take advantage of all the exciting opportunities in the connected lifestyle space. This strategic realignment of our business will ensure that each product group has the right focus, the right resources, and the right expertise with new markets. So it sounds like a positive thing, but HTC is not in a great position because they're cutting 50% of their employees, and they have no value in the stock. So do you guys think this is any relation to the One M9 not doing so well, or do you think this was kind of inevitable for the company either way? Because personally, I think if they had made one badass phone with the One M9, I don't know if they'd be in this position right now, or if they would at least had some time before they hit this point. But I just think the M9 didn't sell nearly as much as they wanted to, and they didn't really improve enough upon the One M8 to really have a successful flagship that would carry them through the rest of 2015.
They're probably just reorganizing under a new parent company called Pinion. Sorry, that was a really bad joke.
That was funny.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Like, The thing is with HTC is that so my background is in communication and organizational rhetoric. So whenever I hear a company say things like flexible lifestyle workforce, I start to panic because those are not good words. Those are all very empty words that mean nothing. I think you're so right with what you said. HTC, like the M9, was just a giant snuff in the nose to all of their consumers in the markets where they're not releasing the HTC M9 Plus or the whatever kind of other devices. The M7 and the M8 were so well received, whereas the M9 unfortunately just fell flat.
Yeah, I mean, like, Alvie, like, what were your overall thoughts on the phone? I know we've had a review up on the site for a while, but I mean, just in general, I mean, was the battery like the biggest problem with your phone, or was it just not enough of an upgrade in general over last year's phone that would really like compel you to buy something like that?
No, battery was the really only issue. I can nitpick some other stuff that was going on with it. The battery was it. As far as the phone, it was fantastic. If you had doubled the battery life on it, and it would have been fine, I would have kept it. I don't think we can blame singularly the HTC One M9 for where the situation HTC is in. This is one of those slow declines, even though it's kind of quick. It's still slower than one phone can do. You've got the failure of the HTC Re, some other products that didn't even make it to market. But you're still throwing a whole lot of money at it. So you've got, I think there was another phone that didn't come out. There was another camera-style device. Then the Re fails, arguably. Yeah. The One M9 fails, arguably. So I think it's more of just like a whole bunch of really bad decisions up on the ivory tower, as you could say it. And then now here we are with now they're trading below cash, and now they're pretty much dead in the water where they are. HTC One M9 was a good phone with a bad battery. Steer way clear of it unless they find some way to upgrade that. But outside of that, to answer your original question, no, the phone was fantastic. It was better than the 8 and 7 to me, outside of the the glaring battery issue. But as far as everything else, it was fantastic.
Well, it's kind of sad to see that, though, too, because if you think about the One M7, before that phone was announced, there was no such thing as a premium feeling Android device, at least in regards to hardware. I mean, that was the first one we saw that had like a full unibody aluminum design. That was the first real Android phone that could honestly compete to an iPhone in regards to its premium build. Like, I'm not the biggest iPhone fan, but I mean, if you look back to where the state of Android phones at that time, that was the first device that came out that could actually go toe-to-toe with the design and from a hardware standpoint. And that really HTC off the ground, that thing, if I remember right, it did pretty well in regards to sales. And it did really well with reviewers too, and it was a really big hit. But then we have the One M8 come out, and they changed a couple things. They added the dual camera, which was not a great addition, really. But they relatively kept it mostly the same because they had a winning formula with the One M7. And then the One M9 comes out. They maybe tweak a couple things here and there, but they don't change a whole lot because they had a winning design with the One M7, and they thought they had a winning design with the One M8. I just think they really need to find something to. They need another One M7. They needed something else that really breaks them through the ground again, because since the One M7, they really have not had a breakthrough device like that phone was. Now, I don't know if it's possible to get another device like the One M7 to have that big of an impact again in 2015 or in 2016 coming up, but they just need something big that's going to, really differentiate themselves from how many other phones we have competing on the market right now.
See, flopping the Nexus 9 was probably a huge issue too.
Yeah.
Nobody liked their Nexus 9. I'm sorry, David. Go ahead.
That's true.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just gonna sit here and look pretty.
No, I was done. That was it. That was my next comment.
No, you're good. Though, I'll diverge a little bit with what you had said there, Joe, because I think for the most part you're 100% correct that they need to have some kind of shakeup. But I don't know if you guys. I didn't play sports in high school, but I assume it's like this. But like everybody gets better in the sport as the time goes on, and if you stay the same, you're not going to be as good. Like if you come in as the all-star, but you don't get any better, everyone else will outperform you, and that's really what happened. Honestly, I think the M9 could have been a major hit if they would have done one thing, and one thing only: buy whatever camera sensor was inside of the iPhone 6. The M9 would have been the top-selling phone of the year, I can pretty much guarantee you. Because the M8 was super good, the M7 was super good. Can you guys hear the birds?
A little bit.
Sorry. So the M7 was super good because of its hardware and software. The camera was forgivable. The M8 was great because of software and build quality. The camera, unforgivable. The M9, it's a 20 megapixel sensor. But if it still sucks, it still sucks.
Yeah.
If a video was choppy, and now you're rolling around in a world where Samsung, where the S6 has an amazing camera, the iPhone has the best camera I've ever seen in a smartphone before, and you just can't compete anymore. When you can't compete, you know what happens? You go below cash, and you cut 15% of your workforce. Bye.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, how many times have we seen that in years past with the biggest company that can't fail? They don't advance at all, like what you're saying. And yeah, here they are, either gone or bottom of the barrel, bargain basement kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly right. What do you think, Fred? You've been kind of quiet for a bit.
Well, I didn't see any of this year's HTC phones, so I can't comment about them too much, or I can't add anything other than what's already been said. And I didn't actually ever have an M8 either. I did have the HTC One E8, which was roughly the same form factor and kind of a slightly scaled down model. And I think a lot of the innards of that phone were actually the same. I was quite pleased with it. But I haven't really followed the economics of HTC really to see where things are going. I'm not really sure whether it was whether they put all their eggs into one basket with the M9 and kind of blew it all and when it bombed, or if this is part of a much larger trend that's been going on. Because they never really did have a big hit phone like an S5, S6, etc.
Well, they were kind of riding Samsung's heels, and they didn't improve anything where Samsung did. So Samsung has crowd appeal, but to say an iPhone user who wanted an Android phone would probably pick up an HTC phone and say, "Well, this just feels like a cheap knockoff of an iPhone." But sorry, Fred, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's true. And also, I don't know where they're at in marketing. Also, I don't watch a lot of commercial television, but I do know that Samsung has been out there hard with TV commercials and so on. I don't know if HTC really had that kind of marketing and advertising presence where they tried to capture more of the mass market. Not really clear. You know, us phone enthusiasts all knew about the One M8 and the One M9 and so on. I don't know how far into the lay population that went.
Truth.
Yeah, and which probably contributes to some of where they are now. Like, who really knows HTC? But everybody knows. Even iPhone people know what a Samsung is or Galaxy is. So, good points for you. Yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit something happier. We talked about HTC and some bad news. Let's move on to Motorola and some really good stuff. I know Joe is so stinking excited about this new Moto X that's coming out. So tell us a little bit about September 3rd. September 3rd is Joe's Christmas, or September 6th is David's. So tell us a little bit about what's brewing.
Yeah, so September 3rd, if you missed our talk, I want to say it was last week, we talked about the Motorola event they had where they announced the Moto X Pure Edition, which is the third-generation successor to their Moto X lineup. September 3rd, you will be able to purchase the Moto X Pure Edition or the Moto X style on the carriers, and I am a very, very happy person because that phone looks absolutely fantastic, and if you do not believe me, just ask David because he is probably the biggest iPhone fan I've ever heard, and he has talked nothing but good about that Moto X phone. So.
Oh yeah, that thing looks.
Yeah.
Family-friendly language. It looks great. It looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, this is a family show, David. Please.
Huh?
Yeah, the language can't come out till 10:30 Eastern, so watch it.
Yeah, it looks friggin' amazing.
It really does. I'm really excited about it, and I'm in the market for a new phone. So let me just back out a little bit. If anybody wants to recommend a good regular phone that'll fit good for a guy that likes an 8-inch, go ahead and hashtag MCOJBrew with your recommendations for that. Because I sold the tablet today because I need a regular style phone where my big tablet wouldn't just do it. So I need a good phone. Tony and the guys are pretty much pushing Nexus 6 really, really hard. But with all this new stuff coming out, I'm scared to buy last year's Nexus 6 when in a few weeks something else is coming out. So anyway, back on track. So the Moto X may be my next purchased phone. So it's really, really, really good looking. And it's got the
it really is.
Moto maker
it has
and everything.
gold. Ooh.
Now what? Hey, you guys know I'm a Sony fanboy, almost as hard as David is Apple. So that new C5, I think it is, Ultra. Man, I'm in love with that phone, and it's way overpriced. Guys talked me out of it. I spend way too much money on Sony phones. All their devices are like double the price they should be. It's supposed to be like $400, and it's not worth it. But, man,
Well, this
it's
Moto X
pretty.
Pure is going to be $400, and I think it has a 6-inch screen, doesn't it?
5.7.
5.7.
Yeah, close enough.
All right, 5.7.
Quarter of an inch. But see, here's the deal.
Come on, David.
Its specs match a $400 phone. That C5 doesn't. It's a like high quality mid range phone, but they're charging $400 for it. But I love it. It's so beautiful.
Well, if you love it, Alvie, then you get it. You do you.
Treat yourself.
And I miss the development community, which I know it's not as big as it used to be back when I was doing stuff. But I haven't been able to flash anything to a phone other than an update because my Sony won't get it. I'll just flash factory images. So I miss that too. So maybe I'll just do Nexus because Sony just never gets the love that way. So anyway, I've derailed this conversation long enough. Let's get back on Joe's Moto style, Moto Pure. Fred and Tony, are you guys going to jump Nexus 6 to go that way, or are you guys going to hold off, or what's your plans?
Well, I'm reserving judgment on this. I'm not committing to anything tonight, it seems. I'm reserving judgment on this as well because I am also dabbling with Project Fi, although I did not close my carrier account with T-Mobile, where I've got a ton of family stuff going on the contract, so I'm tied in there for a bit. But we'll have to see what comes up next. At the moment, Project Fi remains only for the N6. Although there's some indication that the new Moto X may actually be Fi compatible because the same device will work on multiple carriers. So holding off for the moment. We don't know that for sure, but there are murmurings, and what Google has given us is that there will be more devices on Project Fi at some point in the future.
And as for Nexus.
N is for Nexus, yes, and M is for what did we say? Oh, MobileCupOfJoe. But I guess we'll see. What more likely candidate to be the next phone on Project Fi, but the next kind of pure multi-carrier, pure Google phone. But we'll see. Who knows? Could be iPhone for all we know.
I don't know. What do you think, Tony, about it?
I really like it. I really like the way it looks. I'm a little cynical of the 21 megapixel sensor just because Motorola's sensors really aren't that great. So I'm afraid. I mean, I had the Droid Turbo, which had I think a 20.9 or a 20.1 or something like that. And the pictures were fine. They were okay. They were HTC M8 quality pictures. They were decent. They were better than the M8, but they were okay. They were only okay. They weren't even as good as my Nexus 6 takes, and the Nexus 6 only has a decent 13 megapixel camera on it. The Nexus 6, don't get me wrong, love the camera, awesome performance in good lighting. Really poor performance on both sides in poor lighting, and it does fine with a flash, but it's just like any cell phone camera with a flash. The Moto X, if I was the type of person who I was just like, man, this thing is just a little bit too big for my hand, then I would probably want to jump ship for the Moto X, the Pure, I think would be the one I would get. But in general, no, it's not a different enough device. It's got the 808, we've got the 805, it's got the Quad HD display. It's not. I actually prefer the AMOLED display, so I wouldn't want to go down from a Quad HD 6-inch AMOLED display to a 5-inch LCD display. I prefer the look of the AMOLED display, so I'll probably hang with that. Also, I am really in no place financially to be buying yet another device. So I mean, just showing all the cards. But yeah, no, I probably will not jump for the Moto X. And also, I like Nexus, so it's highly unlikely that I will buy a Huawei Nexus, but I will probably stick with the Nexus 6 until another Titan OEM makes a Nexus device. Just because I don't care if it's Samsung, but until another really good. Actually, I would really like to see a Nexus of the new Samsung build quality with their renewed design. I would love to see a Nexus with a Galaxy S6 build design and or design language. Is that what I'm looking for? I don't know all these buzzwords. I would like to see that just because my wife has an S6. She's got the 128 gig S6, and the camera is absolutely fantastic, off the wall, amazing. Usually I'm the one who's handing my phone to everybody to take pictures because it's usually got the best camera. Not anymore. My wife's, and the front camera, I've not like they do some like voodoo magic with the front camera, like some of the little beauty effect or whatever, because like I have tons of freckles that don't really come through on all the pictures, but I still look great and she still looks great, and all the front camera pictures look really good. The only other front camera I've ever seen that was comparable was my Life Pure XL, which was an 8-megapixel front-facing camera, and that one was probably better. But again, Samsung's camera software still blows anything that blue's done out of the water. So I would really, really like to see a Nexus with that build design. But other than that, probably not for the Moto X, the Moto X3.
I know, that makes me sad too, because my Snapchat game is really weak on this Nexus 6, and it makes me sad.
That is one trend I never got into.
Yeah, you're telling me. I was really into Movi right before I got the Nexus 6, and then I got the Nexus 6, and there's something weird about the camera, and the Movi would only shoot videos upside down. Like,
is that right?
I don't.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I pretty much quit using it, and then so did everyone else. So.
Phone shot upside down. Let Fred take a look at it. Maybe that'll help him out a little bit too. He likes it upside down. So. All right, so let's move on. We talked a little bit about this. Joe, tell us a little bit about this next bit. What's brewing with the next bit?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned it a little earlier on in the show. Basically, we got an announcement about Monday or Tuesday this week that we've got former former veterans and employees from both Google and HTC are actually teaming up together, and on September 1st, they will be launching the brand new phone from their company called Nextbit. So if you go to nextbit.com, there's still virtually no information regarding what this phone is going to be. It just says join the reboot on September 1st, and then you can just go to add your email there to get subscription and newsletters, and my screen is freaking out. But yeah, we just have 3 co-founders here. Tom Moss, who was from worked with business development partnerships for Android at Google up until 2010. We have Mike Chan, who is also the co-founder here, the CTO of the company, who worked on Android from versions 1.0 to 3.0. So he hasn't had a lot of time working, it looks like, with any versions beyond that, but still pretty cool stuff. And then we do have Scott Croyle, who was the head of design and user experience at HTC. So we've got some pretty big players in here who could make something really, really interesting. And aside from that, they just have some job listings for Android engineer, product manager, software engineer, test engineer, and a UX prototyper. But that's honestly all we know about the company so far. We don't have any details on what the phone is going to be like, any details on specs, what it's going to look like, the dimensions of it. We just have this fancy little cloud here, and this thing that says join the reboot. I'm expecting something pretty interesting from this. There's a lot of speculation on the web right now that it's going to be something pretty revolutionary, something that we haven't seen before in a smartphone. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I am really, really curious to see what these guys are going to kick out, because I don't know for sure, and we really haven't got any details yet, but I have a weird feeling inside me we're going to see something pretty spectacular when this phone's announced on September 1st.
Well, I'll go the other way then. I'm tired of all of these teases that we're about to change the world. I think they're going to just come out with something regular and basic, and everybody's going to be disappointed. So that way, you've heard it first on Mobile Cup of Joe. One of us will be right.
Right. Look at 1+1. You can't do much as a company with one phone, and it's a brand new phone. Apple had an advantage of there was no other device like it. Nowadays, you're not coming out unless it's a holographic smartphone that costs like $100. You're not going to be getting that much attention. I'm sorry. Like, especially like a little company that nobody's ever heard of anything from. Nope, not happening.
I think it's going to be a self-contained hardware network experience, to be honest with you. It sounds like, because it says they're unleashing the future of mobile networks. Well, that would say to me like the phone can do something special over Wi-Fi, or the phone can do something special over the actual network, or the phone can do something additional. The phone can do something plus whatever the mobile phone's going to do. But it does look interesting. I think there's room now for more like a rebel to the party, kind of like the James Dean with the one cigarette and the leather jacket, because OnePlus had that role, but then they got popular. They lost a bunch of weight over the summertime and got Clearasil, so now they're pretty. We need a new ugly kid, and I think that Nextbit could be the new ugly kid.
Hey, well, maybe I know in one of the Fi the Fi commercials before anybody was getting their invites, someone said, "I want to be able to be talking to someone on," or maybe it wasn't Fi, maybe it was in Android Auto. I don't remember, but they said, "I want to be able to talk to somebody on my Bluetooth in my car, take my phone out, and be talking to them on my phone, and then I walk into my house, have their image pop up onto my TV, and it seamlessly transfer to a video chat." Because you have that capability. So maybe we'll see something, Android-based that's going to try to achieve something like that. Where you can, in the same way that Apple has iMessage and you
I was
can.
gonna say you just described FaceTime.
Yeah, but exactly like that. But we need something like that that's cross-platform that can go with anyone, because as soon as it's gone over to Hangouts, then it will be cross-platform between Android and iPhone. And I know I've played around with the mostly by accident with the voice calling feature of Hangouts, where you just basically initiate a video call with no video.
I love that.
And it's a neat idea, and then you can seamlessly transfer between video and audio. It's not something that I need in my daily life right now or can see using. And there's literally one person I video call, other than to show my son off to my parents. There's one person I video call, and that's my dad, because I know he always has a device on him to be able to take a video call. But as we move into the future, people will be having these things all the time, and video calling will get a lot more popular, and to see something seamless like that, especially if it were Nextbit teaming up with Fi, that could propel their company if they were teamed up with someone who's going to be gaining a lot of attention. But
Ooh.
I'm not holding my breath for anything stellar.
Or it could be a wearable phone, like a true wearable phone. That would make sense. Look at the name. Look at the tools in the name. Nextbit.
True.
So it could be a wearable phone, that'd be cool. That'd be really interesting.
like
That's what the
Google
voices in your head are
Glass.
telling you.
The logistics of it, though, because honestly, now that I've had the watch and I've worn it for the last 4 days, I can't imagine not having it, honestly. So if they were to make that'd be awesome, like a 3-inch display for the wrist, like a cuff, people would buy that like no one's business. Have it be independent of your phone. Oh, and have it I'm gonna design this product. Never mind, I'm just gonna shut up and become a millionaire.
Samsung designed the product. It's called the Gear S, and it did not do very well.
Also the Gear S looks like a friggin' titanium brick got robbed in the middle of the night with a 2x4, and then they put a $1,000 price tag on it and said, "Go die in a fire." If I thought of the word ugly and disgusting and horrifying, right after I would see a picture of the person you hate the most in the dictionary, I'd see the Gear.
It's funny. People thought that the editor of The Verge was just wearing some bracelet on the other wrist from his Apple Watch. Turns out it was a Gear S. Nilay Patel.
Well, that's fine. If it takes you 10 generations to get it right, it takes you 10 generations to get it right, Samsung. It took Apple 1. Boom!
That was fantastic.
Hey, all right, put your thinking caps on, guys. We've talked about this device already. There was a Kickstarter campaign. A lot of us almost funded that it was a
Neptune. I was just
wearable
going to say
device that turned into a phone, turned into a tablet, right? Or turned into a tablet, turned into a donk.
Yeah, was that a Neptune? Not Pine. That was their first thing.
Sweet. Neptune
Sweet.
Yeah. So,
yeah, and it is a neat idea, but the reason I can't bring myself to fund stuff like that is because the hardware is going to be either cheap or overpriced, and it's not going to get updates. That's the problem with these small companies. Basically, the cool thing about it's true. The cool thing about OnePlus when it came out was that it had Cyanogen, so we kind of trusted that at least we would get aftermarket. Even if they didn't get they didn't get the OTAs out quick, but at least we would be able to flash our devices with something stable, and we were able to. But for stuff like this with Neptune from people you've never heard of, you have no idea who's developing for them. I'm sorry, it's going to see one major update, and that's it. And if you're sinking $600-700 into 4 different devices, no, that's not worth
true.
It. Not for me.
Fair.
All right.
We would need to see someone big pick it up, like Samsung or Moto or somebody like that.
Yeah, they're good ideas, but the average consumer is not going to pick something up from a company they've never heard of.
No.
No security net there.
Yeah.
Which is we talked about that last week. Some of the issue with OnePlus and all that kind of stuff. But a company that everybody knows and recognizes is Google, and somebody explained this to me because I'm so confused. Google. Man, have I ever said the word Google before? Has Google
We're
been
talking about
bought?
Google right
They have
now.
a parent company. Explain this for me, please, Tony.
I can kind of take it. So Google. All right, here's I'll lead in. I'll break the ice with a joke. And does anybody own stock in Google? Not anymore. Sorry, that's how I announced this to all my tech guys. No, yeah. So basically, what happened is, if you did happen, and you're watching, and you did happen to own stock in Google, now you own stock in Alphabet, or shortly. I don't know if they've made the change yet. Probably not. But basically, what it is Google's CEO and what was Larry? I don't remember which one was which, but Larry Page, I think, was the CEO, and then what was Sergey, the CTO? I don't know. Or were they co-founder CEOs together? I don't know. Either way, Larry and Sergey, the heads of Google, the founders of Google, have started a new company, which is now the owner of Google, the full owner of Google. So Google is just another product now. Google is just a search-based product under the company called Alphabet. My guess for, and this is an extremely layman's guess because I don't know that much about it, but my basic guess for why they did this is tax reasons. I'm guessing that they could not do as much as they want and make as much money as they needed to make, and expand. And I mean, look at everything Google does from the tech industry to just general philanthropy. They probably couldn't expand under whatever their tax classification was at Google. So they were like, hey, we're going to create a new company. It's going to be way bigger, and we're going to, I'm guessing, because look at what Google did before. Google bought companies. So now they have this G is for Google, and A is for Apple, and sorry, I got to give props to Lucas Freeman on that one because he's predicting that. So we'll see if that comes to pass. But now they've got a way. It'll be V is for voice and D is for drive and all this stuff. So now they've got a way to say we're a mishmash of different products and services that, admittedly, most of which they've purchased instead of created, but still they're a company that's going to be owning a lot of it. And what they're doing is they're actually slimming down what Google is right now, and they're parting off a lot of the portions of Google, and those will be now under the Alphabet umbrella. And who is it? Sundar Pichai is now the CEO of Google, and he'll be in charge of everything that is still contained under the Google umbrella. It's going to be weird to see some of these things transition because everything we know under Google is called Google Voice, Google Drive, Google Plus, it's all Google, Google this, Google that. So we'll see, if they actually choose to change the naming scheme, or if we see then by Google at the end, or how they choose to handle that. But basically, they've just made a big announcement that doesn't mean anything at the moment to consumers. And it will mean something eventually, and it will mean something to stockholders because anyone who had shares in Google now has equal shares in Alphabet. And because of this, Google hasn't made very many wrong moves, or I don't know how often Google stock dips, but it's been pretty steadily increasing since they've been around. So I have a feeling that this switch over to Alphabet is going to mean good things for the shareholders.
Right, and like we're talking about too, this is not something that's really going to affect day-to-day consumers. Even in the letter that Larry Page wrote on the Alphabet website, which is ABC to XYZ, which is actually really cool. He said that, quote, for Sergey and me, this is a very exciting new chapter in the life of Google, the birth of Alphabet. We like the name Alphabet because it means a collection of letters that represents language, one of humanity's most important innovations, and the core of how we index with Google search. We also like that it means alpha-bet. Alpha is investing return above benchmark, which is what we strive for. I should add that we are not intending for this to be a big consumer brand with related products. The whole point is the Alphabet company should have independence and develop their own brands. So this is not something that the day-to-day consumer is really going to see a big change in how they use Google services with. So
yeah, I think it's going to be nothing but good.
Yeah, it's definitely a good move.
To invent new things.
Yeah, I mean, because like Google is just growing more and more each day, so at least this way they'll have ways to branch themselves out in different categories, so they're not clumping all these ideas and all these tools and such under one umbrella. They can actually kind of categorize and spread it out into related companies that are like going towards the same goal. So it's not one massive company that's doing search, that's doing videos, that's doing thermostats, that's doing Project X, that's doing Project Loom. They'll be able to like spread them out so they can actually have teams to focus on them and have their own umbrella of products that are related to what these guys are working on. So in the long run, I think this is going to be like a really good move for Google's part.
I have a hunch that it's also related to what investors are looking for, and where there are investors in Google who have money in search, perhaps advertising and related, the stuff that has traditionally been Google. They may not be looking to have their money invested in driverless cars and whatever is the next thing that Google comes up with. So it's a way to keep things focused in that direction, spin things off. And I'm not entirely clear, and I haven't read up enough on it enough to know how much of it actually may tie into some of their concerns about antitrust complaints coming up. I guess it's still all under the same ownership, so I don't know that this would get them out of any antitrust trouble, but I think it's really keeping a focus on what investors were looking for out of Google itself. And I did get, I guess, the first real-world indication was a couple of emails from Niantic, with whom I have two accounts. One is an Ingress account that I never really used other than a couple of days, and the other is for another, as far as I know, the only other product or project they have, which is an app called Field Trip, which follows you around as you drive around and gives you pop-ups based on historic landmarks as you travel, which is actually a really neat program. But anyway, I got notifications from both of them telling me that my Google accounts on those products were now going to become Niantic accounts as of a certain date in the very near future.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, because normal people like me get confused when things like this happen, because I just can't think of this happening with anything else. Like Tony, you're talking about like their philanthropy work and spreading out. Microsoft does the same thing. Apple does the same thing. Yet they're still Microsoft and Apple. So when normal people like me hear stuff like this, we get confused. And does that make your brand loyalty less? Time will tell. I'm not sure, but Alphabet sounds like a cool idea. It sounds like something really fun and neat. Something else that I like and that sounds like a great idea is winners to a giveaway. Joe, talk to us a little bit about winners for our giveaway.
Yeah, so if you missed the intro to the show, we are giving away 2 iTunes gift cards to one lucky winner. We've got a $15 card here and then a $10 card here, so one person, you will get codes for $25 to spend in the iTunes Store or the Apple App Store for your iPod, iPad, iPhone, whatever you want to do, buy all the apps, games, whatever you do want for that. I would recommend you use it to purchase some lunchboxes and Fallout Shelter, because I got that last night and I can't stop playing it. It's becoming a really bad addiction. But anyways, we do have our winner picked out, and I will go ahead and get the Google Effects drum roll going, which is actually going to take a while to load because I didn't have this prepared earlier.
There you go.
There you go. All right, so we'll get the drum roll going. Maybe? Nothing's happening?
There we go.
So worth it.
Okay, so Vanessa Amanfo, you are the winner of our contest. I'm sorry I said your name wrong, but you are the winner. We'll be contacting you probably via Google Hangouts is the easiest way to do it, just through your Google Plus profile. So you'll be getting a message from Joe Marin probably later tonight to contact you, just so reply to that message within 24 hours so I can get these codes sent to you. So congratulations, and thank you to everyone who entered into our contest. We do have more stuff planned in the future, so hopefully we can do maybe not crazy big giveaways all the time, but give away some small stuff like this at least maybe once a month or something, just to keep you guys interested. And because giving away free stuff is actually a lot of fun to do. So congratulations, and we'll let you know when we have some more giveaways up in the future.
I love it.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love it. Go ahead, David. Go ahead.
I say congrats, Vanessa.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Congrats. Hey, David, while the camera is on you, let's go ahead and wrap this show up. Tell us what's going on for the next, let's go ahead and say next few weeks for you, because I'm not sure when you're coming back on. So catch us up on the upcoming events for David.
Well, I am going to be on Bain Tech Live, not this Sunday because I have a private previous engagement, but every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Then I'm hoping, so one of my friends was very, very nice, and he made a really good deal with me for his old computer. So I'm using a Retina MacBook Pro now, 2014. So I'm hoping to maybe venture into the world of like YouTube things because I'm kind of like entertaining, I would say. So I would like to venture out into that world. So maybe post some videos. I don't know. It just seems like a lot, and I'm really busy with work. But definitely on the 6th, I will be live tweeting through the Apple event, whatever it is. And then whenever the new iPhone comes out, I'll probably be doing some Periscope fun at the Apple Store in Naperville, Illinois, which is down the street from me. Or I might go to downtown Chicago. I'm not sure, and go to the big one on Michigan Avenue. Other than that, I really want to pick up the new iPhone, and I will, because this is how things roll. And, yeah, follow me on Twitter. My Twitter's really fun. I love to tweet, and I tweet out a bunch of random effery. So my Twitter handle is @David DePino, DavidDepino. And hit me up on Twitter. I was talking with one of the guys who watches Bane Tech, and it was really, really fun to do. So I'd love to hear from you on Twitter, Mobile Cup of Joe, folks. But yeah, I'll hopefully be back on the show really soon. I love being on the show too. It's a fun Friday night thing, like before I go out to the parties. So hopefully see you guys again really soon.
So hopefully you Periscope some of your party fun then. So.
No, we don't. Nobody needs to see that. That don't even go on Facebook.
Oh,
me and the party.
Is Facebook still around? I thought they went with MySpace and HTC, so who knows?
Ooh!
All right, so let's talk to back from the dead, Fred. You're bright side up at least. So what's going on for you for the next week or so, bud? What's brewing?
Well, still digging into Project Fi. Enjoying Windows 10 at the moment, and hoping things straighten out and turn right side up. What else can I tell you? My drone quadcopter has been temporarily grounded after only a few flights due to a battery problem, but I am working on getting that replaced at the moment, so hopefully I'll be back in action shortly there. Some products to review, which life has been busy here too, but hopefully I'll get some time to get into some of that stuff this weekend. Some written reviews and possibly even some video reviews if I can get that together. And I think that's about all I got at the moment.
Sounds like fun. Hey, fret not, Fred. There's something about everybody's first quad that it gets grounded or treed or something like first few flights.
Well, at least, grounded is better because at least it's still here and there's hope of using it again, as opposed to up in a tree where that's a whole other story. So at least it's with me. It didn't fly this time, but it came home with me at least.
Exactly. And all right, I'm going to go ahead and skip to Tony next. So hopefully you're ready, Tony. I'm skipping over to Joe. It looks like he was getting something ready for us, some special surprise or something. He was back in the closet, and I didn't know if it was time for that yet or not. So Tony, what's brewing for you for the next few days, few weeks?
Let's see, next few days, few weeks. Working, basically. Spending time with my son and getting in the last couple days at our pool before it closes down. It's the way the weather's going now. I mean, it's been 80. It's pretty solidly highs of 80 this week, and I'm guessing that it's not going to hold past. Is it Labor Day, right? In September, I always get Labor Day and Memorial Day mixed up.
Yeah, Labor Day.
Labor Day, yes. I'm guessing it's not going to hold and be open later. But it has been really, really beautiful and really nice to be out at the pool. Every chance I've been able to get and watch my son play. He absolutely loves the pool, and he's got like 8 teeth now. By the way, he's just crazy. And he's screaming all the time, and not in a bad way. He's just like yelling and talking and in a very good way, interacting with everyone and everything, and still as happy as ever. So that's basically what's going on with me. Kind of just sitting back, and a couple of things I kickstarted a while back are going to be coming due pretty soon, hopefully, and I don't know actually how soon, but this year anyway. So that'll be pretty nice.
Kickstarter, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Awesome. No, it's you need to bring Crib Sheet back on the show because he hasn't been on in a while. So everybody needs to see him. We all love him. So he's part. Man, it just seems like that was just such a cool night when you were in the hospital right before
Oh yeah.
Your mom, or who was it? Your mom or your stepmom or your mother-in-law?
My mother-in-law, yeah.
Mother-in-law came and got you. That was just really cool. So anyway, yeah, bring him back on the show next time. That if you can,
Well,
he's in a good
if
mood.
we're able to set up a separate time for us all to talk about the remix tablet, that's maybe a little earlier during the day, I could definitely have him back on.
I understand. All right, and so back to you, the main man, Mobile Cup of Joe himself. I didn't want to interrupt your running about in the background. So what's brewing for you for the next few days, few weeks?
Yeah, that running about was because some like crazy storm just blew through, so I had like rain pouring in my windows that were open, so I had to get that because the floor is now like drenched in water now. So
Oh, nice.
that was my thing. What's going on this week though? I'm working all weekend, and then Monday, Kennedy wants to go out on a fancy dinner date, so we're going out on a fancy dinner date. So thank goodness YouTubers make the big bucks. Not really. Aside from that, though, not a whole lot going on this week. Just testing out Project Fi a little bit more, seeing how the services in different areas around where I live, and just trying to get in as much time at the beach and stuff throughout the summer before school starts, which is going to be in like 3 weeks, which is kind of scary because that's my last year. So just enjoying summer while I can before I get back for the last year of high school, which would be very, very interesting, but it's going to be a fun one.
Awesome. No, I'm proud of you, but I really am. I'm honored to be part of the team and just proud of you. So I look forward to the next year of school and all that stuff for you too. So, but Vanessa was our winner, correct? I want to make sure I say the name right, Vanessa.
Yep, Vanessa.
Okay, congratulations, Vanessa. Joe will be reaching out to you on how to collect your prize and all of that kind of stuff. And you guys be sure to send a message somewhere on the socials to Chuck. We missed him tonight. Wasn't able to be on the show, but we hope to see him again the next week or two soon. So be sure to send something out to him. And thanks so much for watching and just letting us be a part of your daily, weekly, monthly routine. However you catch us, if you watch us, if you listen to us on the podcast, thanks. We really appreciate it. We like to get together and talk to each other, but we love that you guys interact and you send us stuff on the socials and all that, so thanks. So for Chuck, David, Fred, Joe, Tony, and me, the Bearded Barista myself, thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys next week at 9 p.m. Eastern. Good night.
Bye. Oh.